Christmas and Easter can prompt a lot of feelings of self-loathing. I know I see it in Facebook feeds and Instagram, the body shaming and the fat shaming and the guilt that people apply to themselves because they ate the chocolate, and or especially being in isolation, if you are in full lockdown or even partial lockdown with self-isolation, just the worry about piling on the kilos, or eating all the lockdown food, all that kind of stuff, and worrying about the weight. And so I really wanted to jump in and talk a bit about self-love, because it's such an important aspect of raising your vibration, which in turn supports you in manifesting your dreams. And so if you're hating on yourself, then the universe is going to be like, well, if you don't love yourself, why should I give you any of this other stuff? Like, you don't think you're worthy. And so it can't distinguish between the different aspects that you're talking about. And so I wanted to share a couple of little things to do with self-love. And particularly because I get it. I get the whole, not eating the certain foods, but you want to be a part of those special occasions with your kids. I eat the chocolates. If they're here, I will eat them. I will feel cranky and exhausted for a good couple of days afterwards. But I know that, and so I try to make allowance so that there's space and time for me to rest when I need to, or have other nourishing foods ready on the go, to bring that balance, so they get to enjoy those moments with the kids as well, because I don't want them to see me going without either. Or if you're lucky enough to live in an area, Maxi Man is awake as well, having breakfast over there. So if you're lucky enough to live in an area, or you can get them online, there are a lot of places that do chocolate that isn't even like the chocolate that's available in the shops anymore. So you've got your gluten-free stuff and your sugar-free stuff and your vegan stuff and all of those. So they may be options, which I looked at, and then I went, God, I'm just going to enjoy this with the kids. So we've all got the same. And finding that balance, finding what works for me, and know what my limits are and where to stop. And that has come with practice, but it hasn't always been the way. And so the reason why Easter can be quite triggering for a lot of people is that, it's that control around food, and either going full blown and just eating all the things and then guilting themselves afterwards, or going the opposite and putting complete control on it, especially at the moment, because so many areas of our life seem out of control, or out of our control, with having to go into isolation or things like that. And I guess that's another thing, looking at the language that you're using. So rather than viewing it as isolation, I'm viewing this whole experience and whole time as relaxation time. This is my time to just take care of myself, to go within, to stop avoiding shit that's there. But I get the whole food thing. It was an issue for me as a teenager and early 20s, and it's something that has taken a lot of inner work to find that balance. And I don't always get it right, but forgiving myself and coming from a place of love in each choice that I'm making, instead of a fear response where it's like, oh my God, I don't want to eat this because I don't want to get fat, or I don't want to eat this because whatever the reasons are that come up for you. So the other day, if you follow me on Instagram, Make Peace Lifestyle, you can find me there. I share in my Insta stories every day journal prompts, and I have them in my highlights as well. So you can click on journaling on the highlight, and it will have all my daily prompts. So I share everything that I journal about, well, at least the questions, and usually my affirmation or mantra for the day as well, which is generally the same, because I'm really vibing one at the moment and working with that over the last couple of months. So one of the questions that I posed the other day and journaled about was, how would I treat myself if I loved myself completely? And the second part of that is, what is one thing from that list that I will do for myself today? So here's where the oils come in, and I'll explain what I did journaling and see if this is something that resonates for you. So what I did was, I like to journal with oils. So I've got a couple here. The two that I've been using the last few days, especially over Easter, is geranium. So the oil of love and trust. And patchouli, the oil of physicality. So this is like bringing your ideas, bringing your dreams into the physical realm, bringing everything that's in, just the ether, subconscious, all of that, bringing it into the present, bringing it into the physical. So I've really been enjoying geranium and patchouli together. Funny story, I used to hate the smell of geranium. Absolutely hated it. And then discovered that geranium is a really powerful oil in fertility blends. And this was while I was trying to conceive Maxie. So realised I needed to do a little bit of work around that. But geranium, love and trust. So if you need to tap into loving yourself, trusting your choices, whether it's around food or family at this time. I know there's a lot of people who are grieving or just feeling really lost because their normal Easter holiday plans have gone out the window, where they're not able to visit family like they might normally, maybe just feeling really disconnected. And so tapping into that love is a really great one. Two others that are great at the moment to use, that you might like to use with your journaling, is grapefruit, so the oil of the physical body. So just, connecting to your physical body, and especially pairing that with some love and trust, then the geranium, or bergamot, self-acceptance. So there's just a couple, and I'll pop those in the comments for you as well, what they are. So if you'd like to use any of those when you journal, you can. And if you want to get some, just let me know as well, and I'm happy to help you out there. So back to the journal prompt. So we're talking about, how would I treat myself if I love myself completely? So what I did here, and you may like to answer this differently. You may like to write a list. You may like to do like what I did and write yourself a letter. So I actually wrote, Dear Emma. And then I wrote a list telling myself all the ways that I love myself. And they could be things that you think are very insignificant. Or very small, especially if you're struggling with coming up with things here. So, I'll just give you a couple of examples of things that I wrote about. I love your intuition. And then I gave reasons how I would, nurture these things if I loved and trusted myself completely. I love your creativity. I love the strength and stability of your feet and legs. I love the flexibility of your mind and body. I love the abstract and logical ways your brain works. I love your courage to be vulnerable and to share your stories. So that one came up after sharing the podcast episode that came out late last week, because that was really challenging, I found, to put that out there. I can go live and chat like this all day, but listening back to the podcast brought up a lot of things around my voice, which I don't like the sound of. Funny to say that, but I don't normally have to listen to it. But hearing it back was, quite terrifying. And so putting that out there. And then I just put a few other things, when I love myself completely, and then finish those sentences off with different things that I would do. Such as, I would care for my physical, mental and emotional body by doing the things that I love and being and living a life that I love. So, just there's some ideas of things of how I went about answering this, but you might like to do a dot point list. You might like to collect images and, make a visual poster that you put up in your bathroom or at the doorway to your bathroom, so you see it every time you go in and out. Just connecting into things that make you feel loved and that connect into all the aspects of your body. So if you're struggling with the physical body, then you can look at, mental body, the emotional body, energetic body. Look at those different layers and look at the things that are your skills or your strengths and love on those and identify them. Write down this little love letter to yourself, and use some oils if you've got them, or you don't have to, but if you'd like to, I find it a really powerful way for tapping into that feeling, because then I'll put those oils on my diffuser over the next few days and smell them, and it reminds me of this list that I've written to myself, because I associate those smells with this list, and so then I feel really loving and I feel really loved as well. And so that's just a couple of, that's this prompt, which again, you can find that in my Insta stories in the highlights, and heaps of other prompts as well. So there's like all my daily ones are in there. And just for something at the moment, if you are feeling guilty around consuming lots of food, if you're feeling guilty for Netflix binging, if you're feeling guilty for not getting out of the house because of self-isolation, or you're just finding that, there's all these emotions going on to do with and words that you're using around your body, and thinking that you need to get back to the gym and you need to improve yourself right now, give yourself a break and come back to looking at what you do love about yourself, so that then this picks up your vibration, improves your mental health as well, and when you love yourself from the inside out, that improves your immune system, it improves your health overall, and so it's a really wonderful, wonderful thing to do for yourself, to love and care for yourself.